Story by DHT. I work on a cruise ship. I was the co-captain and we were a 5-star ship, but not with people, but with goods, you see. We transported a wide variety of goods to different places all over the world. These things were unique and intriguing, I might say. I'll get into that later. See, I worked on this big red-blue shipping vessel. It was a very huge one. You know, the kind like a destroyer, but it had been in service since '99. We would be in service before we would hit the port for a 2-month period, and then it would be an 11th month haul again for the first few years. We're fine. I mean, there were some pretty exotic animals and some other things that were not able to be seen because it was above my class, and frankly speaking, it was above my pay grade. Yep, I did not have clearance for those type of doors, to be clear, and we were carrying goods and labeled in different ways to denote access, so all the doors had different symbols on them. But I was not sure what they meant because they were cryptic. I only knew what I knew and what they told me, and that was it. Kind of like most people in life were not on no basis in most parts of our lives. Anyway, I think I needed some sort of access card and was not able to uncrypt the doors. But luckily enough, I had really good friends in private class. Those named was Jeffrey. He was all about appearance. Once we got off the ship, we had made a run over to the beauty salon, and he had got his beard all right, and then head over to the bar. I never got why it would cost him so much arm and leg just to get it right. He would do it anyways. He would always want to go to this place called the Lobster. The real reason why he liked to go there so much because he was the owner of the joint, and I was also part owner of the bar. We would always come in and serve when we had free time. Our fellow patrons would be most excited to hear our tales from the sea. They knew that we couldn't share everything with them because of the clearance corporal issue and the non-general disclosure agreements, but we shared stories of our life at sea. We would tell them just a tad every time we would come onto the shore. This time we had something to tell them for sure, and they are lucky to hear this story. See, our ship set sail at 4 a.m. on February 1st. We knew it would be crazy weather, yep, we knew it would be bad. Our cap had tight ship to run, and he would not want any fuss from our top dogs about the weather. We all went along with him, and we said it would be fine, so we went out with great interpretation. We usually got our navigation to where we were going, but first this time it was actually rather erratic. One reason I was going a bit crazy due to the weather, but we decided to do our best to press forward and set sail by heading in the general direction. So we went out for about 4 to 6 days. I cannot remember how long exactly. We had headed in a general direction for a while. We waited for more radio chatter and communication. Anyway, it was the 7th day or so on our voyage. It was about 4 or 5 p.m. and we had heard this obsidian, forget about this crap so-called mission. You are through with that now. Whatever you have that shit now, you must follow Obsidian's orders. Normally we would ignore indirect chatter and other signals, but this one was very interesting. Although our ears had perked up when they said we were sending you directions on to where you need to go. It is icy, it is cold, you will head onto the furthest corner of the world. Yes, you'll be heading to Antarctica, where you'll reach the coordinates. You'll be noticed a narrow path. You will navigate through these icy barrens, your ice smasher. We were all aghast because we didn't have any ice smashers on our ship. The man from Obsidian continued, you might wonder when you got these upgrades. Well, remember when you were at port for those 3 months? We ensured to make these upgrades and apply these adjustments to your shipping vessel. Your shipping vessel must be ready for these freezing temperatures and other aspects present in the Arctic region. You will notice that your ship now has the new turbine propellers, 50-foot propellers with micro ultra heating beads. They heat to 3,000 degrees in these wintry zones, and thus the great deal of conditions. You now have to deal with this issue like you did in Texas storms. Snow. Do not worry with the power outage, you'll just be fine. Now pay close attention. You will navigate through the course that we will chart for you and complete your mission. Just then, our shipping vessel made a metallic grinding noise and started to turn into a different direction. Our captain was a sarcastic fella. He said, why you think the man on the other end of the line is responsible here at Obsidian? We get things done a little more differently and efficiently around here, Captain Glass. Captain Glass responded, all right. Well, once you get through your location, what do we need to do? The guarded voice at the end of the other line took a deep breath and responded, well, we've given you further instructions. Once you have received your destination, you will receive more communications as you progress along your journey. Okay, Captain Glass, closing and saying, over and out. The other line just went silent. Well, just look at each other. But for some reason, we went along with it. None of us questioned it. I think we were all taken back by, and this had happened. We had never expected anything like it. So we started heading in that direction off to Antarctica with great anticipation to get there. At least we would have a full belly, enough energy, and enough food to last us for a while. I think we're getting off to a good start so far. The first few hours go on fairly quickly. We all could start hearing consistent cracks of ice while we're trying to sleep. It was sometimes hard to sleep. It was quiet for a little bit and then a loud cracking would start up again, and you would have to find some way to drown that out. But there was nothing you could do. You could just hear the cracks and the huge thud of the ice bearings. Boom, boom, boom. It sounded like an earthquake or thunder. But after a while, it would give you a splitting headache, and you might have to even vomit from the constant motion and rocking back and forth. I mean, I would have been on the ocean plenty of times, but this ice thing is a whole different ballgame. I know that for sure. I don't know if I can hit a home run with this thing, but I digress. The captain yells down to me, Jeffrey! He says, you've got to come up here and take a look outside. There's some sort of beam of light coming behind one of these huge ice sheets. I've never seen anything like it before. You have no idea what it looks like, but it's one of the most fascinating sights you can see on Earth. It's like red-green but yellow lights, not like the other lights that most people know. These other things look more like the aurora borealis. But I can tell you one thing, there's not such a thing that sounds something else quite different. All of a sudden you hear radio chatter. Hello, Obsidian answers once again. Hello, Mr. Glass. Are you there, over and out? Yes, I'm here, Obsidian. Over. What over? Do not what over us. We are Obsidian. You listen here, Mr. Glass. What happened? Those lights, you see those red and green ones? Why, yes. Why, yes. We did see the lights. How did you know? Well, all is good then. You are very close, you see. Maybe 6 more hours or so. You should reach the area where the lights are going off, and you should park your vessel right beside one of those huge ice sheets. Then you will get out there, and someone will be there waiting for you. All right, said Mr. Glass. We hear you. We'll head that way. Why, you should see about 600, says Mr. Glass, over and out. Later that afternoon, as they continue on our journey, we were about 2 hours away from our final destination, and some alarms start going off. 2 of the 6 extra chambers that were below deck went from red to green, and that's not good at all. What's in those, Mr. Glass? He quickly calls over the radio, and the voice on the other end of the line says, don't worry about it, Mr. Glass. It's all on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know. The first chamber opened, and it came out of smoke, and a very small gray alien, but alien looks bewildered or in a state of tranquility, almost as if heavily drugged. Mr. Glass almost baffles about this now. Mr. Glass wanted to know what was going on in the other 5 chambers. Then he runs upstairs quickly, but then he got to the top of the stairs. He was cut off by a superior that we were surprised Mr. Glass was a supervisor, so we thought. Obsidian had planned one of their men on the ship, and we thought he was another crew member, and we had added, that we usually do. He laughed. Did you see something you're not supposed to? Then he laughed in a sinister way. Now, I wish I could tell you the rest of the story, but that's confidential. With that, I looked for a few more swigs of my drink. Onlookers in the bar, as they sought to hear the rest of my compelling story, but they didn't push further. They knew that the crew leaders could only share what they could and didn't hold it against them, but one of the onlookers could have sworn that the storyteller had an obsidian tattoo on his upper left arm, but they couldn't get a good look as the storyteller but barely revealed what they've been obsidian, obese tattoo. Indeed, intriguing. Nightfall. Whereas I wonder if the friends of the families of the past, yes, the people at the bar, would leave the last lobster with question about their lives, but who was in control and who really were they knew about the reality, but they were drunk off their minds, but only a few genuinely remember what was said that night. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and share.